of these people also
yes,
it matters because without them, you won't even make the money in the first place.
That's true.
So all this should be considered. And then going forward, I think this is more or less like, you know, a few steps backward for Shooting Stars because the coach has already been there instilling his own style of play, you know, letting the players know how he wants the things to be done. Coach Awero is you know, the overall coach, coach, but then, you know, Akinlo Okere is a first assistant, meaning he works more closely with the players. So it's more or less like, you know, a few steps backward because bringing someone else on board right now is more or less like starting afresh, which is going to be a little bit of confusion for the players. But I do hope that you know, their experience and their competence will be able to pull through this hard time because emotionally they are down, mentally they are down. Technically too, with their one man down. So there's a lot going on in the camp of Shooting Stars, and we do hope that they will get through this, and then we wish them well in their future endeavors. But unfortunately, this has happened. But like we said earlier, African football is improving, especially in the Nigerian space. Just that there are too many faces where we need to work on, and that is the medical department. Oftentimes we see just the physios, maybe two of them on the bench. What happens if there's an emergency? Do you even have an ambulance right there? And then
I think, honestly speaking, if we are to open the cans right now, I'm sure we'll have to, you know, dissect all these things.
I've been to a football stadium, Paparazzi. I've been to a football stadium where there was an ambulance actually, but there's no fuel in the ambulance. I was sitting right next to the driver.
We're not doing that here.
I'm coming. I was sitting right next to the driver, and he was telling me, I mean, I'm just saying that to you so that if anything happens now, there's no fuel in that vehicle. I mean, a player actually had concussion. It's a big challenge. I mean, we can now trivialize this as much as we want. There are protocols. Take, for example, CAF will come to Nigeria and screen all the stadiums and say only just two stadiums are qualified to host CAF games. Isn't that an insult on the country called Nigeria? I mean, it's even an insult to the top teams we have in Nigeria. Talk about Shooting Stars, talk about Yimba, Enugu Rangers, Rivers United. These are big teams that, these are the big fishes. Even Bayelsa United. They are big teams.
So their stadiums are not.
They are not qualified to host CAF games.
So
it's really a disaster.
There's a whole lot. Honestly speaking, if I just wish that you know, these videos get to the right source so that they watch these things and they put things in place. Because if we keep going on about this for, like, honestly speaking, you will see that there are many areas where we still need to focus aside, you know, just playing ball and not doing the right thing. You look at things like this and it becomes the problem. You spoke about something that you know, I'm going to hold on to. You said, you know, even in training, you should have your medical personnel on ground. Everybody should, just even in training, because if you're going to training, you need to check out this thing. So if these people are watching, you know, European football, what are you taking from there? Are you just taking the media coverage, or the skills, or you know, the name of the player? You look at the key details of
when they play in Europe, you see two physios on the bench.
Yes, true.
But the whole team, they are in the back room.
Yeah, back room, yes.
They are waiting. If there's an emergency, they will come out.
Everybody's coming out.
And then when you check the ambulances, they are always parked somewhere very close. So there is always a stretcher that moves that person to the nearest, you know, vehicle. Which they don't even use one ambulance. That's the issue. So here, there's an ambulance, and someone still says there's no fuel in the ambulance. I mean, it is disastrous. I mean, on a day like that, that was a disaster waiting to happen. And I would say Nigerian football is sitting firmly on the keg of gunpowder if we continue that way.
On the jersey,
in Ibadan? Are you saying you don't have, you know, a military that can actually say, oh, don't worry, we'll supply you breakfast, so amount of times in a week, and then they don't even have to be on your shirt. They can just be somewhere in the stadium. People will come and see the game. And of course, that's advertisement. But people are not saying it.
Actually,
and maybe they are too blind, or they don't have the knowledge.
I guess so. And no, as for me now, it's not even the knowledge, right? I think, you know, they're just being blind to these things and saying, come on, I think somebody else can handle it. If I'm not going to handle it, I think another person will take over. And very soon, like you said, we spoke about private owned, you know, ownership coming through. I feel if we can have 10, 15, 16. In the next 1 year, I'm sure it was shaping the minds of so
many
things.
Having that. Yeah. If you know, Bello El-Rufai and Sadiq Umar are really serious with before you know it, they are in the NNL. Before you know it, they are, you know, in the NPFL. Look at what happened to Kun Khalifa. Look at what happened to Barao. We used to have a certain Ifeanyi Uba.
Massively.
What happened to Ifeanyi Uba? So if it's not just about, oh, we have started. It's about the consistency. Will you be able to maintain it? And then do not say, oh, I want to do this with my own money. Yes, you can start with your own money, but can you maintain it by making sure that you bring other sponsors on board? You know, as a person, why can't you say, oh, you have a football club and you have a company, why not, okay, in my company, so amount of money, part of the profit, maybe 10% of our profit in a month should be spent on the football club, and then gradually you realize the fact that if one brand comes on board, others will follow suit because they are always careful of what they do. So once they realize that a brand has actually identified with you, they all want to come. But nobody is going to pick that one brand that will come first. And if you can do it, then it will continue to happen. That's what we are saying now. Teams are beginning to wake up, especially the privately owned football clubs. And some state-owned football clubs are also wising up. Kano Pillars, for example, Ahmed Musa came on board, RFI also joined in, and then that's a sponsorship. It will be on their shirt for next season. Why will you be playing an MPFL game and it's just the name of your football club in front of your shirt? Are you saying that state is that poor that you cannot get one sponsor? So the state governor cannot speak to one sponsor. The state governor. I mean, that's bad.
We can keep talking about this, but I think one thing we want is change. We want change, and that's the tool of the media. That's what we are doing right now. As speaking to you and open for a change. We just want change, and you see what that change can bring it, to the country and Nigeria. We are the giant of Africa, and we want to remain at the top. But moving away from that, let's remain at the top, and let's see what the Tigers can do in Angola, where they put in the 3-pointer, the 2-pointer, the free throws. How far can they go? But right now, the federal government pledged a full backing for the Tigers as they arrive Angola for AfroBasket, urging them to emulate the Tigers championship spirit and make Nigeria proud. I remember the first match is going to happen on Wednesday, tomorrow, against Madagascar. So right now, it's the male side doing it, but it's not becoming difficult. Chan, their own first leg against Senegal is a problem. Now we're about to run, Gibras and, geometrics and how far they can go. Right now is the Tigers looking at how the preparation with poor preparation to this tournament. And we spoke about the fire brigade approach, how far has it, done good for Nigeria sport in general. Right now, they have a match against Madagascar, they have second match against Tunisia, and the third match against Cameroon. We're going to go on a short break. When we are back, we'll be discussing about the Tigers right here on the show. Stay connected. Don't change that dial.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture